story, the story about thief, which is by author Ruskin Bond. So we will start this chapter. I was still a thief when I met Anil, and though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. So it's a story of a thief who is telling his story by that what he was and how thing was. So I was still a thief. I was a thief when I met Anil. When he met Anil, and he was at only 15, means his age was 15 years. I was an experienced and fairly successful hand, means he had experience in doing such activity of stealing things. So he was thief and he was experienced in that. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him. He was about 25. So Anil, to whom thief met, Anil was watching a wrestling match. So that was the wrestling match. Like in India, if you go to rural area, in villages they have a wrestling match. Okay, you say kushti. In Hindi that is kushti. So Pahalwan. Okay. So when I approached him, he was about 25, a tall, lean fellow. So Anil was a tall guy, and he looked easygoing, kind and simple enough for my purpose. So he was looking easygoing, means we can easily talk and engage with the people, and kind and simple enough for his purpose. I hadn't had much luck of late, and though I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. So he hadn't had much of luck. So he thought that he maybe get into the confidence of Anil. He will take in confidence to Anil. You look a bit of a wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friends. So what he did, a thief, he told to Anil that you look a bit of a wrestler yourself, to get engaged in talking with him, that you also look little bit like a wrestler. So he thought that by this way he will make the friendship, he will engage the discussion, he will start the discussion. So do you? He replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. So what Anil replied, so do you? Means whether you are a wrestler. So he also thought for a moment because thief was also thin. At that time he was not like a wrestler. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. He said, well, I do wrestling a bit. What's your name? Hari Singh. I lied. So when Anil asked what's your name, he said Hari Singh, which was a lie. I took a new name every month. He was taking new name every month. He was thief. So he was hiding his identity. He was making the fake identity. So he was changing his name every month. That kept me ahead of the police and my former employers. So he was doing this stealing things with his employers. So that was his habit, to get in employment and then steal certain amount or anything which is precious. So by hiding his identity, he was away from employer and police because he was keep changing his name. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestler who were grunting, lifting and throwing each other about. So after this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestler who were grunting, lifting and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. So Anil did that discussion about the wrestler, but he didn't have too much say, that thief. So Anil walked away and he followed him. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said, but I can't pay you. So when Anil was walking, so he again interrupted, thief, and interrupted to Anil. Hello again. So what he told that I want to work for you by a smile. He has given a smile and I want to work for you. What Anil replied, but I can't pay you. I cannot pay you anything. I thought that over for a minute, perhaps I had misjudged my man. I asked, can you feed me? So he asked, can you feed me? Can you give me food? Can you cook? Anil replied, can you cook? I can cook. I lied again. So thief again lied that yes, I can cook. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. That was Anil's response. That if you can cook, then I can give you food. I can feed you. He took me to his room over the Jumana sweet shop and told me I could sleep in So he took me to his room over the Jumana sweet shop and told me I could sleep in the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to a stray dog and told me to be off. I just hung around, smiling in my most appealing way, and he couldn't help laughing. So what what thief did, that he cooked the food, but he doesn't know how to cook. So obviously that cook wouldn't be like eatable because must be something terrible. Either there is lack salt or more spice. Couldn't be tasty. So what Anil did, he gave that food to a stray dog, and he smiled. He laughed actually. And thief was hanging around the Anil, his with a smile in his appealing way. So Anil laughed on that thief. Later he patted me on the head and said, "Never mind, he had teach me to cook." So Anil teach him to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limit to what I could achieve. So, thief thought if he could taught me to write my name and number, if I can write like an educated man, then he can definitely achieve many things in a life. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supply, usually making a profit of about a rupee a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. So he was also happy for working for Anil. He was making tea in the morning and he was also taking some time to buy other supplies. And he was making profit out of that, like a rupee, 1 rupee in a day. At that time it was a good amount actually. And thief thought even Anil is aware about this, that he is making additional money by doing some additional activity. But he didn't mind. Anil made money by fits and starts. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. He kept worrying about his next check. But as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazine, a queer way to make a living. So that was the Anil. He was making the money by fits and starts. And he was waiting for the next check. Whenever he supposed to receive a check, he was celebrating out of that amount. And it seems that he was writing for a magazine. And that is how he was living. The way he was making money to live a life. One evening he came home with a small bundle of notes saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. So one evening Anil came with a small bundle of notes and he told that he has sold a book to a publisher, and he put that money amount under the mattress. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me a key to the door and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. So, still, thief has not done anything stealing activity other than just one making money by doing some additional activity. And Anil was also have a trust on that thief. He was given a key to him. So what thief told that he had never seen a trusting person like him he ever met. And that is why it was so difficult to rob him. It's easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed. But it is difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he has been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Well, it is time I did some real work. I told myself I am out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he will only waste it on his friends, and after all, he doesn't even pay me. This time it was difficult to rob him because he was not a greedy man. But after all, thief thought that if he won't steal that amount, then Anil is going to waste that amount on his friends, and he is not paying to thief. He was making food, but he was not paying to him because that was the agreement between both of them. Then Anil told that if you can cook, then I can feed. But thief was thinking that he's supposed to get certain amount, and so he decided to steal Anil. Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. I sat up on the floor, considering the situation. If I took the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Slipping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. Anil was sleeping peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine were mostly scars. So that night, when Anil was sleeping, there was a moonlight. Thief thought that I can take this amount, I can steal and can catch up the 10:30 express to Lucknow. My hand slid under the mattress, searching for the notes. When I found them, I drew them out without a sound. Anil sighed in his sleep and turned on his side towards me. I was startled and quickly crawled out of the room. So what thief did that he took that amount because Anil was sleeping. When I was on the road, I began to run. I had the notes on at my waist, held there by a string of my pajamas. I slowed down to a walk and counted the notes, 600 rupees in 50s. I could live like an oil-rich Arab for a week or two. So that was 600 rupees, and he can live like an Arab for a week or two. When I reached the station, I did not stop at the ticket office. I had never bought a ticket in my life, but dashed straight to the platform. The Lucknow Express was just moving out. The train had still to pick up speed, and I should have been able to jump into one of the carriages. But I hesitated for some reason I can't explain, and I lost the chance to get away. So he has lost the train. He did not catch it. And when the train had gone, I found myself standing alone on the deserted platform. I had no idea where to spend the night. I had no friends, believing that friends were more trouble than help. And I did not want to make anyone curious by staying at one of the small hotels near the station. The only person I knew really well was the man I had robbed. Leaving the station, I walked slowly through the bazaar. In my short career as a thief, I had made a study of men's faces, when they had lost their goods. The greedy man showed fear, the rich man showed anger, the poor man showed acceptance. But I knew that Anil's face, when he discovered the theft, would show only a touch of sadness, not for the loss of money, but for the loss of trust.